Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, everybody, and welcome back to FRS Season 7, Division 2. We are in the final stages of the season, round 12 of 13, and we head to the Circuit of the Americas in Austin. Here is the circuit, 5.5 kilometers around, 20 turns, 3.4 miles, for those of you who are so Americanly and imperially inclined. Just two DRS zones, one down the long back straight turn 12, the other one up the hill into turn 1, and Coda has appeared in all but 2 of the FRS seasons, has been a projected favorite. And of course, your first action zone is that huge uphill climb to turn 1, a short DRS zone down the pit straight, then a massive climb that results in some very short braking zones. Your next big overtaking opportunity down the back straight, turn 12, long DRS zone, winds up and down some hills before a sharp left-hander that leads you into this technical, twisty middle section of the track. Tires, as usual, soft, medium, and hard compound available. The medium's about 0.8 of a second slower per lap than the softs. The hard's 1.6 seconds slower per lap than the softs. The softs last about 9 laps around here, give you about 4 or 5 good racing laps. The mediums will go about 15, the hards 21 laps around this circuit. So it is still going to be as it has been all season. The mediums and the hards making the impression. We'll see if that changes come next iteration of the game, the 2023 variant. But we'll hop out on circuit for our first qualifying run of the day. And of course, the official qualifying time here around Coda puts the sun right in your eyes down the back straight, but you can see the big climb up the hill into turn 1, trying to spot the braking point. It is a little bumpy as you get towards the end of it, so as that downforce is coming off, not having any anti-lock brakes really hurts. I got a little distracted by that car on the right, missed the apex to start the sweepers here. The S's that start off Coda that make for such an interesting and fun kind of circuit to drive around. Then up the hill, very tricky left-hander, so easy to lose the back end as you crest that hill. And now you're down the hill towards turn 11. Find about 75 or 65 meters to brake for this sharp left-handed hairpin. It's all about setting up this run down the long back straight. Just a little bit here. There is where the DRS opens up. And now the speeds will climb as we're working our way up the hill through this whole section. It's going to pitch over the top and then head downhill. Brake right around the 100-meter board. Get pitched in for this sharp left-hander. And now into the middle section of the circuit. Try and keep it as tidy as you can through this first double right-hander. And then you're braking and turning in this double left-hander. Try and get the car rotated down to the apex, then back onto the exit. This quick right-hander, easy to lose the back end on. The left rear tire temperature. The surface can get very hot and cause sudden spins, so you do have to be very careful. You're not quite fully flat out. And then the last 2 corners, the penultimate corner, blind over the crest. Last corner, looking directly into the sun. Not really much of a braking reference. Short opening of the DRS, and we go on a 34.8 for our first lap of this session. Now, heading back to another lap, about 9 minutes to go in the session, starting up to go for another flying lap. Still some time to find in this one, especially in the first sector, as we were kind of distracted by that other car and didn't also have the greatest run through turn 1. This time, a little more tight to the apex in turn 1. And we managed to stay, though, just about even with our delta. A little touch of the curb unsettled the car there. It kind of got high-centered on that curb, so we did lose a bit of time and grip there, but you can see the time we find through the S's. And now just trying to work our way through. Trying to get the car slowed for that right-hander is very difficult. It's just a slow kind of rotation. But we found about 1/10.5 on our first run. We are provisionally P2 behind Chronicle at the moment. And now it's all about exiting on this back straight. You saw our delta dip down considerably as we entered the corner, but it was all about the exit. We gained about 0.2 of a second fully on the exit. So now it's just about carrying this advantage the rest of the way through this lap. Purple through the first sector. How are we on the second sector? A big slide as we come through there. Purple through middle sector as well. So the back end, though, complaining a lot in this. We've already lost about 1/10.5 because of the rear instability that we're just fighting through. We were still about 0.3 up on our previous best lap. And we are a little bit better through that long right-hander. Penultimate corner, stay nicely within bounds. A little bit slower than last time. And the final corner, get the car rotated. Short shift because there's a little dip. And we are going to find nearly 0.4 of a second, go to 34.409 this time through. So our best qualifying run in time trial, or our best time trial run, got down into the 33.8s. Best Grand Prix mode qualifying run got to the 33.1s or 34.1s. So there is some time out there. We've dropped down to P3 as Gali and Chronicle have both stepped over us and gone into the 33s, has Gali for provisional pole. This time we stay off that curb. You can see nets us about half a tenth of a second by staying off that curb, and now just trying to wrestle the car. There were some areas where we fought some wheel spin and some sliding in the last lap, so those are opportunities for us to try and regain a little better through that right-left complex, and you can see the delta that we've gained there. But now can we match our last time through on turn 10, or turn 11 rather, as it is about the exit. It looks like we've got it pretty much all even keel, a little bit slower than our last lap, but we are still fighting to get that just right. Now let's see if we can make up the time. We had some wheel spin moments and the back end stepping out on us, but we've gone wide onto the curbing, so we've basically done the same kind of mistake. Purple through the middle sector, so we have found a little bit of time, but that time getting the traction down much better. Early on the brakes was not ideal. It did cost us some time through there, and now into the final couple of corners we go. And it doesn't look like we're going to find the half second we're going to need, and into the penultimate corner we run very wide there. We rejoin, and it doesn't invalidate, but we had gained time, so I lift off out of the final corner just to make sure we don't improve our time. Yeah, you could get away with some track limits there. Hopefully nobody else was doing it, but we end up being shuffled down to fourth as Robin pips us by just a couple hundredths right at the end. So we are going to be starting on the left side, the inside part of the track, down in P4 for this one. So not ideal. There was some rain on the forecast for the very end of the race. So we opted for a regular hard start onto the mediums, and you can see most people went with that. Robin on the mediums as the lights are up and out, and we actually get a pretty poor start. You can see Vickers on the mediums goes right by us, to the outside, goes spin around. We're trying to cover the outside, but Peter Ward is going to go around there, and that's going to put us in the middle of a four wide situation. A little contact between Chronicle and Spen there. We're just trying to have it to sort our way through, having to lift a bit to not run into the back of Peter Ward, but that is going to open the door for Furry Onyx, and we're going to have to kind of yield the position to him as well, and that is going to put Iag right at the back of us, but we managed to slot our way just ahead of him. Now, in hindsight, Iag had connection issues, so his car was under AI control at this point, and nobody really knew it. But so we've lost 4 positions right at the start here, trying to get another one back down the back straight. We see if we can get the exit on Furry Onyx. We've naturally been a little quicker than him all season, so it shouldn't be too huge of an issue. It looks like he actually switches off overtake. He should be in the slipstream, so we're burning overtake battery to try and get by him. Move to the inside of turn 12 here. Leave him space on the outside to fight back. He's kind of there if he takes a bit of a lunge. We were a little bit wide through there, and that's going to put him right on the back of us as he's going to lunge up the inside line. We had to kind of make a correction for Peter Ward in front of us, and that's going to put Furry right next to us. A little contact between him, and then Iag's AI just drives straight into the back of us and now tries to drive through us, essentially, until his AI stops. You know, we're half spun. We're now way off the back of the field, and trying to deal with the Iag AI, which straight to the back, and in a race that we absolutely needed for the championship. Our hopes were kind of dwindling down. Like we basically needed a race win here, or to at least finish ahead of Gali, to stay in the championship fight any closer. And already we're out of it. But now I'm in put my head down mode. It's done some damage to the hard tires, so they are going to have a little bit reduced life in flexibility. We should, under ideal weather situations, or as was expected, we should be able to run to our normal pit window, go onto the faster medium tires, and go. So we're in catch up to everybody else mode at the moment to try and press on. But yeah, it's not exactly what you need early in the race to be 8 seconds back off the next car and having to grind your way to try and catch back up to the field. So no good news so far in COTA. Our home race curse continues, and it's happened not just with COTA but also with Miami last season, where we were running in a good position. We got run into 3 times in Miami. So we just really had no opportunity to try and put a race together there. But COTA, it's only, as we said in the pre-show, only been absent in 2 seasons. And there's always been something that happens in COTA. I think my best result was probably season 1 when I went full tire whisperer and came in with a decent result. But, something always happens. There's always a spin. Usually it's self-inflicted or over the top of what is that, turn 8 or turn 9, the little left-handed flick at the start of Sector 2. But, not ideal. So we've gotten Pathaman down to 7 seconds. So we are making some headway on him. The other thing about COTA is it is an absolute nightmare for ERS usage. Driving an entire lap and not using any of your battery around COTA only gets you about 6.5 to 7% of your battery recharged. Meanwhile, going for an attacking move down the back straight will drain about 35% of your battery. So if you're going for one attacking move down the back DRS straight, you essentially need 5 laps to refill your battery again. And in a 28 lap race, that's pretty devastating amount of time to lose, significant power. So we have to be kind of careful with our overtake usage in chasing down this pack. At this point, really kind of hoping for maybe a safety car at some point to bring us back, into the race and catch us back up. Lord knows safety cars have helped out everybody else over the course of this season significantly. We've not quite had that kind of luck with safety cars. Would be a very different championship if there was no final safety car in both Baku and Canada. Those were 2 situations where I was just kind of running in race winning position, and safety cars kind of ruined it. But such is how it goes. And as a result, we are not in great position for the championship anymore. Yellow flags up ahead, so it looks like Pathaman has indeed come off. Lost the rear of the car through the penultimate corner. Easy to do if you just get on that right foot a little too soon before the car settles. There's a lot of kind of little bumps and undulations around Circuit of the Americas that make it tough to dial in an exact result. But we're going to jump ahead now, lap 6 of 28. So we've hopped about a lap ahead. Vickers has had a moment to catch us up to him, and then has another big moment off the circuit. He goes through that long right-hander, and that's what happens when you get the rear tire temperatures too hot. So he is around off the track, and that is another position up for us. We're now to 6.5 seconds to Furrionics. We are catching him gradually as well, and he's carrying a 3-second time penalty. So at this stage of the race, I'm thinking I can probably get to maybe a top 5 finish, because Peter Ward is in 5th, running the alternate strategy for Chronicle, as he's done so many times this season in an excellent teammate positioning. But we're going to jump ahead again. Lap 10 now of 28. And off the circuit goes Peter Ward. He's the local yellows just ahead of us. He's rejoining, getting back on the track. IAG pulls into the pits to retire, as his internet connection is just not helping him out. So we are right behind Peter Ward, and now he's on a medium tire, but we do have DRS, so we're going to try and get by him relatively quickly, as he's been a staunch defender against us so far over the course of this season. He's going to pull to the inside. His battery is already low. We saw a glimpse of the flashing red lights. So down into turn 12. We're going to leave space for him on the apex in case he decides to stick his nose up in there, just to act in self-preservation. But now we're going to take the apex, kind of park it a little bit on the first apex. I do think we are carrying a fair bit more downforce than he was. As I make a mistake there, that doesn't help. So his straight line speed was better than us, but through the more twisty bits, I think that's why I had such good results in the twistier bits of the circuit. But it does make it a little tougher. I did keep the downforce on. I'd played around with a little bit less downforce in practices before, but with the threat of rain on the radar at all, I opted for my slightly higher downforce setup, just in case the rain came earlier than expected. It wasn't really scheduled to show up until the end of the race if it stayed all green flags, which it has so far, 11 laps into this 28-lap race. But you can see the sky is darkening significantly. There's not really as hard of shadows so far, and we are just trying to open up the 1 second margin to Peter Ward. There's that left-hand flick that's usually such a problem and is a huge advantage for people that have traction control, because you can really stomp on the throttle just as you're coming up to that corner and the car will stick. If you don't have traction control, there's a little kind of dip at the apex and the back end will absolutely step out on you and murder you. But we're down to 2.4 seconds behind Furrionics now. And Peter Ward stayed within DRS, but he's not going to be close enough to attack. If we can have a good last half of the lap, then we should be able to get him out of DRS threat, and we will continue to move up on to Furrionics. You can see we've run the battery down quite low to 21%, just trying to create that gap to Peter Ward. Big mistake through there. That's cost us a little bit of time to Furrionics, but we recover it decently, and now 2.2 seconds, so we are in the penalty window of Furrionics, but with more than half of the race left to go. I expect I should be able to get him on track and then start setting off after Zhao, now that Peter Ward has slipped behind us. And Peter Ward does come into the pits. It is lap 12 was about the pit window for medium tire runners to come in. Hopping ahead a couple laps, lap 14, you can see Robin now in P5 has opted for the pit stop. So he started on mediums. He's already made his pit stop and come back out ahead. So that's where the lead group is in relation to us. Was huge. But local yellows, that is Zhao off the circuit to the outside, looking for a spot to rejoin. He's not quite up to speed, so he's going to stay off the track surface, and that will net us a position as people continue to make some mistakes. We've gotten into the 1 second margin of Furrionics while that's happened as well. So we will start to get some DRS off of him and see if we can't put together an overtaking move. And now, at this stage of the race, I've been being told rain is imminent repeatedly. So lap 16 was about my scheduled pit stop window for the hard tires. Even though the original schedule wasn't for the rain to show up until the very end of the race, weather reporting was basically saying water was going to start coming down in the next couple of laps. So at this stage, I'm not really thinking about the pit lane and going for the medium tires just yet. We are going to try and get the move done on Furrionics down the straight. We've managed to recover some of our battery, so we do have 41%. We've got enough to make a strong attack down the back straight. So out of turn 11 we go. We get a very good exit compared to him. He's got some wheel spin by being out on the curb, and you can see just how much we pull and drive away. And of course, with the DRS help, as soon as that was opened up, that is going to be big for us. So just keeping it nice and tidy in turn 12. Make it a little bit wide of the apex, but you're carrying that extra speed from the DRS. It's a little tougher to judge your break point, but now it's up to trying to just maintain P5, because Robin's on fresh hard tires. Spen has yet to come in, but he will come out about 3 seconds behind us. And on fresh tires, we have yet to make our pit stop. So at this point, we're just kind of goal hanging for the rain. So yeah, you could just about hear few minutes till the rain. Furrionics staying well with us in the middle sector there, so we are using a little bit of battery. You can see pit window open now for the mediums to come in and go to the end of the race. But with the rain imminent, I didn't want to come in, lose about 18 seconds of track time in the pits by making a pit stop. So I didn't want to come in, make a stop, and then have to stop 2 laps later for wet weather tires. Considering everything had gone poorly for me at the start of the race, my only opportunity to get up near the rest of the group was hope for some of them to take pit stops, then get on the rain and get the wet weather tires on when they do, and then try and race my way back up towards them. Two of my wins did come in the weather, both in France and Imola. So I was feeling relatively confident about dealing with the rain. And here we are on lap 19. We've pushed these hard tires basically up to their limit. The rain has started to fall, and at this point, though, 67% wear, 75 is where you really start to worry about punctures. The rain started to fall in. The track was still relatively grippy at this stage, but that early kind of getting knocked into a spin on lap 1 took a chunk of life out of the tires that didn't really give me much to play around with. So we're thinking about boxing this lap. We've just got to kind of gamble and hope we guess right and kind of do the opposite of whatever the lead group does and, see what happens. Here's me going slow through Sector 2 because I'm also trying to fiddle and get the tires set. So it does cost me a decent chunk. But we've got the intermediates set on here. But coming through this long right-hander, the track was still very grippy. The rain, falling very lightly. So it wasn't really... I didn't think it was wet weather tires yet. So I stayed out another lap here. So I stayed out another lap to try and see. All the leaders stayed out, so they seem to be good. And it's really just kind of hoping and praying. Now, at the end of this lap, I will be pretty close to 75% on the hard tire of wear. So I would be in danger of puncture. So really my only choice at this stage is to box in this lap and hope the weather, hope it rains harder and catches these guys out. And they have to stay out an extra lap on less than ideal tires, and I can try and make it up on the intermediates. Would have been a big gamble to go on to dry tires and hope it, it's still lightly raining. I'm basically using all my same braking reference points, and that's a little concerning, but yeah, you can see already over 70% on, or 71% on the back left, which is just going to get absolutely loaded up in the triple right-hander towards the end of the lap. So you just got to kind of deal with it. We are going to be into the pits this lap and just kind of hope for the best. P5 is where we're sitting. If the weather, gets wet and rains, maybe we can net up a position on Robin, maybe. He's got a 13-second advantage on us. Just those fresher hard tires worth quite a bit. All the leaders stayed out once again, so considering still rain falling on the track, my tires are just about toast. My only option now is box for the intermediate tires, come in and really just hope that it starts to rain more severely and slows up everybody that is already out on the track. So concerning thing to me, Furionix goes through, Zhao goes through, nobody else goes for the pit stop, which is a little bit of a worry, as usual, turning on the racing line as soon as wet tires go on. But everybody else stayed out on track, which is not great for me. We break early, try and give some space for Peter Ward to go through. He goes wide, even though we kind of left him in the apex, but we just wanted to make sure we joined the race safely. But so now we're on the circuit on intermediate tires, surrounded by people on dry tires. So it's going to be all about keeping these tires in the temperature window as much as we can until now. One thing I found about the intermediate tires is even when the track is grippy, you can see it followed pretty well through the S section there. Not too bad. But braking performance was abysmal on these. The intermediates are not very good in straight line braking. I was having to hit brake marker spots that were much further along than the cars behind, and it created a little bit of confusion for them. But you can see closing up on Peter Ward. He's going to defend to the inside. We have a little look to the outside, but you can see just how much extra grip he has under braking compared to what we do now. And I think he was trying to go slow down the straight to try and slow us up. We opened the door kind of wide for Vickers. I'm thinking maybe he sneaks his way up through. We stayed to the inside, just kind of fighting with him. But he's going to slot back in, and we're able to pull just ahead and maintain that position. We've lost the 1 second gap to Peter Ward, so DRS still enabled, even as the water is falling on the track. And realistically, the track is still quite grippy. So the gamble not really paying off. I'm losing time hand over fist to the leaders. And I'm sitting down in ninth place with the 3 second time penalty. So we are racing Vickers forward position. He gets into the back of us there. Just kind of misestimated, what our braking distance need to be. I think that gave him some wing damage. And even with that, he was, kind of hanging with me for most of the rest of the race here. But yeah, I think there was some wing damage to him running into the back, just him misjudging what I needed to do for underbraking versus what his tires could do underbraking. As we've said, the intermediate tires horrible in straight line braking on a drier track. But rain's still falling, but track not really getting wet. And at this point I'm like, well, there's not much else I can do. So we're jumping ahead, lap 25 of 28. The track does get slightly more damp. It puts us into contact with Peter Ward. So we're right up behind him. He's picked up some more time penalties. We're trying to hang with Furionics, who has 9 seconds worth of time penalties. Pathaman is now on a set of soft tires. So he had opted for the dry tire in a late pit stop. And once again, there's that braking advantage that the dry tires have. But the track just never really got wet. So we're trying to run. Hope the track gets wet in the last 2 laps or so. And maybe we can hold a 3-second advantage to Pathaman, stay ahead of him on the penalties, and net some kind of finishing position. We are going to jump Peter Ward at this point. Furionics has 9 seconds, so he needs to find 6 seconds on us, which he is on the soft tires, so he's got the opportunity to do. It does seem though that at this stage of the race, the soft tire was the best tire to be on, was the quickest tire. But I had to gamble, and in this case, the Coda curse continued, getting hit on the first lap, and then 9 laps worth of rain that didn't wet the track really at all. So after that first lap incident, I was kind of goal hanging and hoping for something to bail me out. No safety cars. One of the only races of the season with no safety cars to help bring me back to the pack at least. And yeah, that's just the way the cookie crumbles. Safety cars have bailed out my opponents so many times this season. They have harmed me on several occasions, taking away nice, comfortable race wins and trying to dice and get past Peter Ward. That time he kind of blocks to the outside and kind of runs us out of road. So no move on there. It was a little touch and go, a little illegal. I think he should have left me some space on the entry to the final corner. I know he kind of understeered on the exit, but him moving back all the way to the racing line and kind of forcing me to take the curbing, I think was a little illegal. But he's now kind of gapping me, and realistically, I think Peter Ward's smart enough and is a good enough team player to know that if he keeps me 6 seconds behind Furionics, then that's gonna work. But he's gone deep into that bottom of the hill left-hander, so we sweep around the outside, take a position off of him, and now we're going to try and play the run away game. So we do get a little bit of clear air. He's going to really gain on us under braking, so we need to make sure he's nowhere near. He's going to have DRS on us, but we've saved up some battery following in his wheel tracks. It has netted a 1.3 second gap now for Pathaman, so even if we finish right where we are, we will lose out on that position to Pathaman. And you can see just how much ground he can make up under braking. It's incredible, honestly, how bad the intermediate tires were under straight line braking. I was very surprised, considering the level of wetness of the track was right at the crossover point essentially. Maybe a little, at least crossover point for those on the hard tires. So I was fighting with people on dry tires for a lot of the final stint, but it just wasn't wet enough for there to be an advantage. A big moment there in the penultimate corner, almost getting spun round. But at this point, starting the final lap of the race, we are within the time penalty for Furionics, and actually yellow flags as Furionics has run out of fuel. So Furionics on the last lap, out of fuel. Probably could have done something. He sits basically on the apex of turn 2 until we get there, and then darts outside. And that was a really bad way to try and, get off the racing line. But you can see that has put any hopes of maybe running away from Pathaman in the last lap if the track was a little bit wetter. It's put him right on our gearbox, and it's just not going to be worth fighting with him down the back straight at all either. We're 18 seconds back of Zhao at this point. So Pathaman stays behind us. He's going to get DRS. I'm not going to fight it. We've got a huge time gap to Peter Ward now. Robin takes the race win in the penultimate race of the season. So we burn a little bit of battery just to run down the back straight, but we're going to stay right to the racing line, leave the door wide open for Pathaman, and we're just going to hit the brakes. He's got a bit of a lockup down into the into turn 12 there, but we are just going to go ahead and just let him finish ahead of us. There's no reason to fight aggressively with him. Now, if he was trying to really slow us up and push us back to everybody else, that would be annoying, but looks like Furionix still trundling around with no fuel. It's going to be a minute for him to finish the race, but going through the final 2 quarters, it is going to basically dash our championship hopes for this season. I think that leaves us, with this P7 finish, leaves us 20 points back of the championship lead with just 1 race left to go. So Robin takes the lead. We're just going to have fun in Japan next week. Hope for the best. Try and get another podium, maybe another race win. But basically, in order to win the championship, we need not just the race win, but some serious carnage for Gali, Robin, and Chronicle all. And I don't expect that to happen. So, championship basically done and dusted with. 3 race wins so far on the season. Maybe a chance at 1 more next week, but it's been a challenging one. If we had gotten off to a better start of the season, it would have been great. But Spen comes home 2nd, Gali 3rd, Chronicle 4th, Zhao 5th, Pathaman 6th, ourselves 7th, Peter Ward, Vickers, Furionix, and Iag. The only retirement from this race, so a rare Div 2 race with no safety cars on a race where I desperately needed one. But thank you all for joining me once again. I'll catch you guys next week. Y'all have a good one. Peace.